Yo, what's going on, guys? Winner Kills here. Welcome back to a brand new locals feature match. Here we are in round one from 11:25 into November 25th's locals. I'm a little backed up on feature matches, but I've got plenty of content coming. Earth Machine, Saturday Night Locals are on their way as well, and new deck profile, test hands, etc., etc. So very excited for all of that. So we do have Infernoble versus Unchained here. And no, it's not me piloting Infernoble. It's my friend Kevin on the deck. And we're going to see him open up pretty strong here with Rhoda into Connector. And Connector into Dolphin, discarding Imperm. Taking a look at the opponent's hand, nothing there to discard. They'll take 500. And they're going to fire that Imperm off on the Isolde. And yeah, not wasting any time. They're waiting for the second effect to resolve. Importantly, no reason to Imperm Isolde on first effect to deny them a search in the hand or get them a free card essentially, because they can easily link and do a second one and resolve that second effect, the one that actually matters. So keep that in mind. And we're going to see him use Heritage, and Heritage is actually going to add back from the grave. Not something you usually see too often. Not something I do super often when I play the deck as well, but it is an option nonetheless. And they're going to grab Durendal out of the grave. Durendal will equip to Isolde. And they're going to use Durendal effect here to go ahead and search for level 5 or lower Fire Warrior. We'll see what they decide to go for here. Now, there is a potential way to keep playing here, and it's just any way to Angelica, which is not super hard, depending on what else they have in hand. So Divine Sword will activate after they've added Ogier to hand. And Divine Sword is going to equip to Isolde, and they'll set one. And it looks like they're just going to pass turn there. Unfortunately, they don't have the juice to keep going. They're just going to add Ogier for follow-up. They have Ash in hand, probably Imperm set. And they're boosting up Isolde there just a little bit to hope maybe it survives the turn. Because if Isolde can survive, obviously that helps out the Infernoble follow-up a ton. But it's only at 1900, which is obviously not a lot. Staring down that 2000 tax Sharvara right now. So it does hit the field, popping the Escape for the Unchained. And it looks like they're awaiting a response on the effective Escape right now. Whether or not they want to fire off the Ash on that, and they will. I mean, they know the hand. So, like, their hand trap usage here and where they decide to interrupt is more informed. More careful decisions being made here. It's not like we're just blind interrupting. Again, we know the entire hand. They knew they had Thrust. So Thrust is going to go ahead and add one. And they'll set it and they'll pop it with the Rakea. And that's going to pop the Abominable Chamber, I believe. And that's going to bring out Aruha. And they still have, I think they have an Imperm set. They're going to link off the Aruha and the Sharvara into most likely the Unchained Soul Lord Yama, and they'll get both of the effects there of both Sharvara and Yama to search and set. So the link into Yama, and I mean, this would be a good Imperm here if any. At least in my opinion, it seems like, yeah, and there's the Imperm on the Yama. It just seems like every time I play against Unchained, the deck literally cares zero about hand traps. Like, I don't know if I'm interrupting wrong, which I mean it could very well be the case, but like, it does not care at all in the slightest about hand traps. It seems like they always find a way to have something going, some play to make that results in usually a decent amount of interruptions. So they'll set Wailing of the Unchained, and then they're going to link into Unchained Soul of Anguish, and they're going to get to pop the Wailing of the Unchained, importantly while it's face up. Not exactly sure off what effect. I'm assuming a graveyard effect. And they'll get a special summon out the Sarama, and they'll set and pop Sarama. We'll set another card and then pop Sarama, and then Sarama effect will get to summon from the deck here. Looks like they set Escape. Yep, so they'll bring out not the Shervara, but the Shyama. And then they'll use the Anguish to go ahead and link off with the Isolde into the Abominable Unchained, the Unchained Abomination. And then go into the battle phase there and swing in for a decent chunk of damage. And it looks like they are going to pass turn there. And they're going to start with Red Layer hitting the field, which I assume was their add off of Isolde the previous turn. So that's just a free body they have to start their turn here. And the normal summon of Ogier will be successful here. And activating the effect, going ahead sending Turpin to the graveyard. Another good extender to have here. And it looks like they're going to fire off the Escape. And they're going to pop the Shyama and the Red Layer. And they could have some effects here. They'll use the Unchained Abomination. Since something was destroyed, right? The old Destroy, Destroy, Destroy. That used to be the nickname that our friend group used to call that card. And yeah, it doesn't look like they'll be able to play through all those interruptions there. Understandably so. The Infernoble combo is probably most fragile at its start, if any. The more it has, the longer it can get going, the more resilient it becomes. A lot of times those opening plays with just Ogier interrupting that or removing that from the field in any way, shape, or form really is a very vulnerable point. Even before the Isolde comes down, right? Like that's a very, very vulnerable point. And we're going to see them get into Isolde here in a kind of a weird combination. Normal summoning Fire Flint Lady and then getting into Oliver on the field by discarding and then going into the Isolde, which does resolve here. At least we, you know, think it's going to resolve, right? And no Imperm, no Ash, no Effect Veiler, nothing like that. So the second effect of Isolde will resolve. And they will go ahead and special summon Ogier. Ogier will send Turpin. Now the opponent does have Nibiru in hand. So this could make things a little interesting here. If they don't have a way to beat the Nibiru, I don't really think they opened a hand here that's super prone to actually being able to beat Nibiru or at least play through it. You know, we at least need a way to make Angelica after getting hit with Nibiru. That's the most important thing. So they'll equip Oliver to Ogier. That'll allow them to special summon Turpin. And that'll get Turpin and Ogier on field for a rank 4 play. So that's going to be for the Battling Boxer Dempsey. They do have Crossout Designator in their main deck at this point. I assume that was sided in. And they'll be able to add the Renault. And they'll detach the Ogier as a part of Dempsey's other effect. And they're going to special summon Renault here, adding back the DDR. Although I think potentially nibbing before they put the Renault on field probably would have been correct. Because now you let them get DDR back. And yeah, now they're just going to synchro into Angelica here. And Angelica effect will resolve here, grabbing Field Spell. I mean, there was I'm trying to think if there was a potential option there for them to be able to make an Appaloosa of some kind, but I don't think they would have been able to make Angelica had they did that. So yeah, I mean, I think this is just the correct play. I think the opponent definitely could have Nibiru'd a little bit earlier, because I just don't think there's a reason to let your opponent summon Renault to get back DDR, considering how valuable of an extender that is. So it looks like they will use Ogier, and they're going to attempt Angelica's second effect, and they're going to chain Nibiru to that, but they do have Crossout Designator. I was going to say, I thought I saw a Crossout in the hand, and I was like, this is going to be rough if they don't have something for it, but they do. And they're able to keep playing here. They're going to summon out Roland, and they'll probably send... I was going to say they might send Gearfried here, but they're going to go ahead and send Magus. Almace is in the grave, so, I mean, that is fair enough. They really won't have a way to get the Gearfried back if they send it, because they did open up Phoenix Blades that forced them to send a different equip to be able to resolve the Isolde for 4. So yeah, making things a little awkward here, kind of denying them the Gearfried access. So I think sending Magus is completely okay, because, you know, what it lacks in being an interruption could technically net them an interruption anyways, in the sense that it is a draw 1 here. So they could draw into Gearfried, they could draw into a hand trap, they could draw into a side deck card, whatever it may be, and they're going to go ahead and recycle 2 equips, Durendal, Almace, and one other monster there. Might have been Ogier. Didn't get a good enough look at it. Could have been the Oliver. So they pick up 1 there. Or it might have been the Turpin. Nope, Turpin's still on the field. Okay, they're still underneath the Dempsey, rather. And we're going to see them equip Roland to Charles, and then Charles effect to equip the wrong equip there. They should have, yeah, the Synchro Charles equip there. A little mix-up. And then they're going to use Oliver. I think they already used Oliver's equip. And now they're going to use Field Spell to pay 12 to go search, which I guess they haven't done yet. And they're going to equip Almace to Isolde, and they're going to go ahead and link into SP Little Knight, and Almace is going to go ahead and allow them to add back from Grave or Banished, and they're going to add back Renault. I could have swore they already used the effect of Oliver to equip to get the Turpin on field. I mean, I don't think it makes too big of a difference here, but end phase will roll around, and they're going to get Angelica's Angelic Ring equipped to the Emperor Charles the Great, and they're going to get to equip 1 from the deck here, and they're just going to equip the Ricky Ardetto, since both Oliver and Ogier and Magus are out of the deck, which would be like the best equip cards at this point in terms of the additional protection they would add on, but yeah, you kind of got to work with what you got. So, and Angelica should be back in the field as well. Yeah, so a little mistake there, but doesn't matter since the opponent is just going to scoop it up, and we are going to go into a game 3 situation here. Infernoble bringing it back, and we're going to see Abomination's Prison to start things off here for the Unchained deck, grabbing the Sharvara, and they're going to set 1, and they're going to activate Sharvara, or not Sharvara. They do have Arua in hand, but they're just going to go Sharvara to pop Abomination's Prison. And yeah, I'm curious here too if that you can use both effects of Abomination's Prison per turn, and it looks like you can. And they'll be able to special summon 1 out of deck. You can only use each effect. Yeah, each effect per turn. Summon 1 out from deck. And link into the Yama. And set 1 from the deck. And then they have that Arua already in hand. So they'll go ahead and special summon that by popping the Escape. And that's going to summon out a Sarama. I'm really struggling here to remember these Unchained names because some of them are so very similar, but I think I'm doing a decent job here. Sarama will pop the Rikeya and reset 1. Rikeya will summon out a Sharvara, and then they're going to use the effect of Shyama Engrave to go ahead and destroy the Sarama, to go ahead and special summon out Banana Man. And we're going to see a Nibiru here, because I think this is when you have to Nibiru. Otherwise, they get access to the rank 6 DDD, which would completely deny any chance at Nibiru. So you definitely have to Nibiru there. It's a really nice thing about playing against Unchained is that, like, obviously there's niche exceptions, but for the most part, you know when you have to use Nibiru, because they have 2 level 6s on field, right? So they're gonna normal summon. I think normal summon there. They haven't normal summoned yet, and they're gonna go ahead and link into the Unchained Soul of Rage, which may normally seem like, oh, I'm just linking off with one of your monsters, but SP Little Knight gonna make things a lot more interesting. Adding at least 2 more interruptions. And we're going to see Wanted to start things off here for Infernoble. And they're going to normal summon Connector, so very strong opening. And since they have a Nibiru of their own on their field, Connector is going to be that much more potent because we can rip things that are 3k or higher. And it looks like our Unchained player is well aware of that. So in order to dodge that, they're going to chain escape to get that Nibiru off the field so they aren't able to hit that Nibiru out of the hand, which is huge. And that's going to trigger Yama here to go ahead and revive one back from the grave by banishing it. And I think bringing back the Unchained Soul Rage here probably makes the most sense. And they'll also get the add back on the Unchained Soul Rage too, going for the Abominable Unchained Soul. And the link off the Dolphin with for the SP Little Knight, and SP Little Knight will banish the Connector. So one of the strongest forms of interaction the stack has, right there, just proving why it's so good, clearing 2 off of just 1 play. And then you still have the secondary effect of SP Little Knight to worry about on top of that. So now for our Infernoble player here to be able to play through that interruption and the Nibiru on top of that, plus the follow-up, is going to be easier said than done here. They have double Museum and Diabellstar here, and this is, you know, it's not a lot, but it's definitely something to be able to work with. I mean, you could go Durendal here for, you know, Red Layer, right, to clear the Little Knight, and then, you know, Diabellstar, away the field spell to get access to maybe like a Renault or Ricky Ardetto or anything there, and then go into a Soul that way with the Snake Eye play, but maybe that plays too hard Nibiru, right? Because you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that would definitely walk right into Nibiru. Yeah, I don't think there's any Nibiru safe route to be able to take here. But we're going to see them go for adding Oliver off the Durendal, and then Diabellstar will force out the second effect of Little Knight. They'll still get the Snake Eye set, though, because it does happen on summon. They're going to play that second Museum. That's going to grab Almace, and that Museum is going to go ahead and, like I said, get sent away for Snake Eye, bringing out Ricky Ardetto, and they just have that Oliver in hand, which they are going to need to go ahead and discard that Almace to special summon that Oliver. Just making things a little bit more difficult here, and I believe this is their 5th summon. Connector and Dolphin were 1 and 2, Diabellstar was 3, Ricky Ardetto was 4, Oliver is now 5. And yeah, this is just going to, I mean, you got a Nibiru right here. And yeah, they'll summon the rock, pass over the token. And there really isn't much you can do right here, which is unfortunate. Like I said, maybe going for like a Red Layer route, assuming that it's still in his deck. You know, maybe could have sided out. I'm not sure. But beating over SP Little Knight there could have been beneficial, right? At the end of the day. But that Nibiru really just making things a lot more difficult. So they're going to summon the Rakea, or the Rua rather, by popping the Little Knight. And that'll allow them to special summon the Abominable Unchained Soul. They'll discard Thrust to be able to destroy the Diabellstar. Non-target pop. And, I mean, they could go for a Yama play, but they could also just go Battle Phase, and they will. Attack over the token, and then attack in with the Arua and the Nibiru to get in some damage there. Main phase 2, make the Yama effect to go ahead and set. Or search, rather. It's the Sharvara that's got it mixed up. So they'll add that. And our Infernoble player is on pretty much, you know, no cards in hand right now. Really not a lot going for follow-up, which is unfortunate. I mean, they do have Snake Eye, which they can use here to go ahead and put back and draw 1. And they do get their draw for turn. And they have Ricky Ardetto engrave, which is an extender. And they do have Red Layer. They draw Red Layer, which is pretty huge. And they're going to link that off for Anguish. And I think they have Renault in hand. But will it be enough here to be able to keep playing? They still have a normal summon technically, since they just got that Red Layer on the field for free. But I do not think they're going to be able to make a play here with just that Renault in hand. And yeah, they're going to go ahead and admit defeat here, and we'll see Unchained take the match 2-1. And last but not least, a big shout out goes to our current Divine level channel members, who are Ponystar, Cadillacs, HC8 Cyber, Green, and Misfid. Thank you guys so much as always for extremely kind and very generous support of the channel.